Hey everybody, Sean here from VidGamiac.com, and welcome back to another episode of VidGamiac vs. Imports, back in Deathmark today, covering chapter number 4. Alright, just as always, we are going to start off in the mansion with a bunch of exposition. Just make sure you keep picking choice 1 until you get control of your character. You are basically just going to meet your partner for this first part. Once you get control of your partner in the foyer, make sure you make a save in slot number 4, then go to partner, select your one and only partner for this, and then go to exit, go to the garage, pick the second location, which should take us to where we need to get going. And other than that, it is on to the game. Alright, once you get to this part where you are out on the street, make sure you click and examine this manhole cover, and this is going to allow us to take our first trip into the sewers. Alright, once you are down in the sewers, make sure you hit up to go forward. You should be in this room with a door and a wooden box next to it. Make sure you interact with the wooden box. Inside's going to be a hammer, a hatchet, and a red notepad. So make sure you stow those away in your inventory. Then, after a ton of talking, we are going to hit down to go back to where we are at, and then we're going to hit up to go forward. There's going to be more talking. Once the talking is done, just hit up again to go forward again, and we should be at this screen. Alright, once you are here, make sure you interact with the iron door, and then out of nowhere, we should meet this lovely homeless person, so make sure you skip through all of his text, and once you get control of your character again, just go back the way you came by hitting down, and just backtrack all the way to the mansion. Alright, back at the mansion, you are going to get an achievement here. After that, you're going to get through some more talking. Eventually, you are going to end up upstairs next to a desk. Make sure you just pick option 1 for both of the choices. Basically, this is just going to search the desk for some plot-related thing. Just keep making sure you skip through this until you get to the title card of the chapter. Alright, first off, we are going to be introduced to the two characters who are going to be our first two partners in this playthrough. You have the Japanese maid lady in the red that looks kind of like a jester clown, and you have the woman that kind of looks like a fortune teller. You get this choice, make sure you pick choice number 1, and then after that it should put you at the main foyer menu. Make sure you make a save here if you want to. We are starting to save in slot number 4 in case you haven't realized. After this, we are going to choose our partner. Make sure you choose the maid magician lady, the one in red, and then after that it's off to the garage to head to our next location. Alright, after a little drive, we are going to end up back at the school from Chapter 1. From the entrance, make sure you hit up to go forward, and then we are on to re-exploring the school. We are going to navigate to the west stairs, so make sure you head left, and then forward 3 times, and then left to do one big turnaround, and that should put us at the western stairwell. Once you're here, make sure you go up to go forward to head up to the second floor, and you will get a little cutscene where there are going to be a bunch of snakes here. That red notebook that we grabbed out of the sewers earlier will allow us to bypass this set of snakes, and that should give us access to the second floor. Once we're here, we're going to hang a right and then head into the classroom right next to us. Once you get control of your character, make sure you look inside this sink on the left for a talisman health boost. After that, we are going to hang another right, and this should take us into the storage room. Alright, a ton of stuff to grab while we're in here, so make sure you look to the cupboards on the left. Examine the middle one. Inside should be some office waste as well as a sheet of paper. Right next to the cupboards is going to be this shelf of glass jars. You want to make sure you look at the bottom shelf. You should be given a clear bottle, a brown bottle, and a bottle with some foil and clothes inside. After that, we are going to examine the anatomical dummy, which is going to be in the middle of the room right here. And then the last thing we're going to get before we leave is going to be the bookshelf in the back right. You want to look at the top shelf, and inside should be another talisman health boost. Hit right to leave, and then once you are back in the classroom, you should hear a spooky voice over the PA system. And then once we get control of our character, we are going to have to take our first exam. So this chapter's main gimmick is to give us some exams, and of course they are going to take the form of live or die choice battles. So to initiate the exam, make sure you interact with the desk underneath the chalkboard. You want to make sure you enter option 1 and then option 2, and then that should start the fight. So the fight is going to work just like all the other fights. You have a time limit, and make sure you just punch in the right choices at the right time. So this one's going to be choice 1, then choice 2, and then finally another choice 2. So as long as you punch those in as quick as possible, you should be able to get through this battle taking as little damage as possible. Alright, back out in the hallway and in control of our character again. It is time to take the next test, so make sure you go forward and then hang a right to go to the next classroom. Once you're in here, before we start the test, there's actually a health power-up that you can grab on the blackboard right here. It's going to be in this little flower pot looking thing, so make sure you grab that, and that should heal whatever health we lost in the last fight. Before we start the test, make sure you examine the graffiti on the blackboard. It should be written in blood. It says something in Japanese that I can't read. After that, the test is going to be on the desk right here. So once again, interact with it. It's going to be choice 1, then choice 2 to start it. This one's going to be the Japanese language exam. It's going to give you a live or die choice battle. This time the order is fairly simple. It's going to be choice 1, then choice 2, and then choice 3. So very, very straightforward. Once you get that one done, that's one more test out of the way. Alright, back in control of your character. Make sure you hit back to leave the classroom. So just go down, then hit up to go forward, and then we should be right here, further down the hallway. As you notice, the classroom is going to be locked by this wire. We are going to have to hit up our inventory and use the brown bottle. I'll provide a translation below in case you can't read the Japanese characters. So just match up the characters with whatever it is in your inventory, and that should melt the wire away. And then we should now have access to the room. So just hit right and enter. Alright, to sum up that cutscene, basically you entered the room and you found a woman, then you gave her some of the clothes that we had in our inventory or something like that, and basically she joins us as our third partner for this chapter. Anyways, we end up back at the mansion. Once we're back here, of course, you can make a save if you want to. Make sure you save in slot number 4. Make sure you switch over to this new person. We're going to call her Lab Coat Lady just because I like simplifying people down to their looks, especially in a game where I can't read their names. And then it's going to be back to the school. So to the garage and then location number 2. And then we're going to quickly drive back to the school. Alright, once you are at the school, we are going to have to backtrack to where we were essentially earlier, so just make sure you follow the path and then head back to the stairwell, take the stairs up to the second floor, make sure you go forward, down 3 rooms, and then hang a right, and then we are on our way to our next exam. We are going to have a total of 3 more exams that we need to take. All right, test number 3. This one is going to be a math test. Once again, to start, you want to make sure you pick choice 1 and then choice 2. Once it starts up, the deadly choice is going to start. Options are going to be choice 1, then 1, and then 3. Pretty simple. Make sure you do that as quick as possible. Once again, trying our best to avoid as much damage as we can. Alright, once the math test is out of the way, we need to backtrack to that scary room with all of the dead animal bodies from earlier so we can take our German test. So make sure you hit down twice to turn yourself around and then left to head into that classroom. Once we are here, the reason we needed to switch out to Lab Coat Lady is because apparently she can speak German, and that's going to be the special skill we require in order to take the test. But before we can take the test, there are a few story items that we need to grab while we're in here. First off, you want to make sure you look at the pig's head in the middle. That should give you the megaphone. And then you want to make sure you look at the stag's head on the right, and this should give you a sheet of paper. Once you have those two, it's safe to take the test, which is going to be on the far left desk, the only one without an animal head on it, essentially. Same thing as always, make sure you pick choice 1 and then choice 2 to start the test. You get another live or die battle. So this one is going to be 3, 2, 1. So a simple countdown as your order in case you need help remembering. Alright, one more test to take. So we are going to head over there, and on the way we are going to grab a few more items. So make sure you hit down twice to turn around, and then hit up to go forward again. During this cutscene, we should get a sheet of music, which is going to be an important item that we need, especially during the final boss fight. Once you pick that up, make sure you continue to head forward. This should put you at the east stairwell. Once we are here, make sure you examine the floor underneath the door to get another health power-up. So make sure you grab that talisman. Once you grab that, you are going to hit down to turn around again, and then hit up to go forward, and then left to go into the next classroom where we are going to take our last test, and this one is going to be the music test. No items in here to grab, just interact with the desk on the right, and this should start it up. And then make sure you pick the choice 1, then the choice 2, and then our final exam is going to be a music exam. Choices for this one are going to be 3, 1, 2, and finishing that should be the last test, and then we are good to wrap up this trip to the school. All right, with the music test out of the way, we are pretty much done with our trip to the school. However, we have a few more items we need so we can take on the boss. So make sure you backtrack, and we are heading back to that storage room from earlier. If you remember the one with the anatomical dummy, now that we have the exam papers, we can give it to the dummy, and the dummy should basically give us the music room key, which we need to open up the last room where the boss is. It's also going to give us a match, which is going to be another item that we need to basically use to defeat the boss. So after you get the key and the match from the dummy, there is one final item that we need to grab before we make our way back to the mansion, since we need to do another partner swap before actually taking on the boss. So make sure you head to the other storage room. So just make sure you head on downstairs, back down to the first floor. And then once we're here, we are going to have to go on a little side diversion. So just keep following this path until you get to the second storage room. Once we are here, you want to make sure you whip out the hammer from your inventory. Once again, translations will be provided if you can't read Japanese. So make sure you use that on the wall. This should punch a hole in the wall. Then to grab the amulet out of the hole, what you have to do is you have to make sure you use the clear bottle, and then after that you have to use the match. Essentially, you are trying to scare away some snakes that are in the hole or something like that. And with that, the amulet is going to be the last thing we need in order to fight the boss. So we need to head back to the mansion since we need to do a quick partner swap. So this partner is going to be good at speaking German. However, she's not too good in a fight. So we need to make sure we switch out to our maid jester magician lady, the one in red. So make sure you just backtrack all the way to the mansion. Recommend making a save here if you want, and then making sure you switch out to the next partner, and then making sure you head back to the garage, which will lead us back to the school.
了解。
Alright, back at school. We are trying to find our way to the music room. If you don't know how to get there, basically you want to head towards the east stairwell and then head up to the second floor from that end. Alright, interact with the door and you should automatically use the key on it. Once you're inside, you will notice a piano. Make sure you examine the piano and you should grab some sheet music. Then you are going to hit down to leave the room, and then you should be interrupted by a little cutscene. During this cutscene, you get an achievement. Right after that achievement, you have a choice. Make sure you pick choice number 3, and that should segue into the boss fight. All right, boss time. I assume it's going to be against the music teacher who is also an alligator with some snake arms. So, round one, you basically want to combine the office waste with the amulet. Round two, you're going to combine the clear bottle with the match. Round three combines the hatchet with the sheet music. And then finally, round four, you want to combine the amulet with the match. Back in the mansion, to wrap up the chapter, make sure you pick any choice when given a choice. Once you get the chance to make a save at the menu, make sure you save in a new slot. We are starting to save on slot 5. Then, once again, as always, to wrap up the chapter, go to talk and make sure you pick choice number 1. That's going to do it for part 4. There's your achievement, 30 gamer score. Don't forget to check back soon next time for part 5, and that's all there is to it.